Hey everyone, welcome to the STS Biology Review Pod, your podcast for mastering AP Biology. I'm Skylar from Seattle Tutoring Services, and in this episode, we're unlocking the structure of water and hydrogen bonding. If you want extra help acing AP Bio, join our weekly interactive review sessions. It's $65 per person, but if you organize a group with friends, it's just half price each. The Calendly sign up link is in the show notes or text 206-999-0666 to register. Before we study water, let's take one step back. Everything you can see and touch, whether it's a dog or the rug, it's all made of atoms. But what exactly is an atom? Think of an atom as the tiniest building block of matter. Each atom has three main characters. Protons, they have a positive charge and live packed together in the nucleus, the dense center of the atom. Neutrons. They're about the same size as protons. And the neutrons hang out with the protons in the nucleus. As their name suggests, they don't have any charge. And then there are the electrons. They're much smaller, faster, and negatively charged particles swirling around the outside in what's called energy shells. Here's where it gets important for biology, especially for what happens in water. It's those outer or valence electrons that decide how atoms interact. When two atoms get close, their valence electrons can be shared, transferred, or just loosely attracted. This creates different kinds of bonds. How atoms bond with other atoms shape the very properties of the substance. Now, if you put together atoms from different elements, you end up with a compound. For example, water is a compound made from hydrogen and oxygen atoms bonded together. But there are thousands of different compounds in your body, sugars, proteins, DNA, and more. Here's the gist of how atoms can stick together. If one atom gives an electron to another, it forms an ionic bond. Think of table salt. That is sodium and chloride linked together. But in water, atoms share electrons. That's called a covalent bond. And sometimes those sharing arrangements aren't entirely equal, leading to molecules with poles, a bit like a magnet. Let's zoom in and see how this all comes together in a single droplet of water. When I say water molecule, what comes to mind? Picture a big circle to represent the oxygen. Then add two little hydrogens like the ears of the circle. The way these atoms are arranged gives water some very interesting characteristics. Even though oxygen is neutral, the oxygen hogs electrons, making it slightly negative, while the hydrogens get a bit positive. So we end up with a molecule that has an electrical north and south pole, the negative end with oxygen and the positive ends with hydrogen. This type of bond is called a polar covalent bond. Scientists call this polarity. Imagine magnets. Opposites attract and similar charges repel. Water's polarity means it can stick to itself and to other molecules in all kinds of fascinating ways. So, next time you see water beating up on a leaf, you now know that it's not just a droplet, it's molecular teamwork. Why doesn't it just flatten out or roll off? Hold on to that question. We're about to answer it. Here's where things get interesting. Because of that polarity, water molecules don't like being alone. Each slightly positive hydrogen is attracted to a neighboring water molecule's slightly negative oxygen. These tiny but mighty attractions are called hydrogen bonds. Now, hydrogen bonds are weaker than the bonds holding the atoms together within a water molecule, but they're great partners. Individually not that strong, but working together they get stuff done. Let's see what hydrogen bonding does for us. Cohesion. Water likes to stick to itself. That's why you can sometimes pile dozens of drops onto a penny before it spills over. It's why insects can skate on water, and why, when you accidentally dip your textbook corner in a puddle, the water magically climbs up the page. High specific heat. Water can absorb a lot of energy before it starts heating up. That's why your swimming pool stays chilly even after a sunny day, and why your body temperature doesn't change wildly as the weather shifts. High heat of vaporization. When you sweat, water molecules carry away lots of energy as they escape into the air. Your body cools off, not just because you're wet, but because of hydrogen bonds taking energy with them. Expansion upon freezing. Water gets bizarre when it freezes. Those hydrogen bonds lock into place, spacing molecules further apart, which makes ice float. This helps lakes and ponds act as winter refuges, with aquatic life hanging out under floating ice. Ability to be a solvent. Water's polarity lets it dissolve all sorts of substances, salts, sugars, proteins, making it a universal solvent. That's why it's so crucial for living cells. Thanks for listening to the STS Biology Review Pod. If you want extra help acing AP Bio, join our weekly interactive review sessions. It's $65 per person, but if you organize a group with friends, it's just half price each. The Calendly sign up link is in the show notes, or go to seattletutoringservices.com or text 206-999-0666 to register.